Prepare your mind, my friend, for you have entered the service of the great Bobo Khan, and you shall be baptized in warfare. Striking from the steps like wolves, we shall surround our foes and tear them apart. Death and flame will be brought down on all who oppose the great Khan's will. Ready your horse, grab your bow. We ride to war. Once you're done fooling around on all those lesser factions, it's time for you to build a Khanate. And I'm going to show you my favorite build for doing just that. This is my maximum Khan build. As always, do what's fun for you, but I like to share my builds and my thoughts on that build. Now, right over here on the left, you'll see right away how awesome this build is because we've got tic-tac-toe. 3 in a row, 7, 7, 7. Why is the 7 significant? Well, you'll remember on the attributes and focus chart that if you put 6 skill and 5 focus, you'll stop right here at 274. Boo! But you get 7 attribute points, and that's going to let you get to that sweet 275. Why is 275 important? Because right there where it says required skill level 275. So when you have 7 points in a tree, you can get up to 275 points. You'll actually get a little over that. And that's going to allow you access to the final perk. So we have 3 branches where we can get 275 skill. And I haven't even fully leveled this guy up, but he's leveled enough to kick ass, and I'll show you that. So starting with bow skill, we've just got a bunch of damage increases, armor pen, reload speed. We got 25% here. We've got another 25% aiming with bows here. And then we get reload speed right here with our 275 perk. We also get more damage for every skill point above 200, which you can see we're a few above. 30% extra damage. Buy yourself a nice noble bow, some nice quality arrows, and you are going to wreck people. Now, depending on placement, range, armor, there's a lot of things that affect how much damage your bow does. You may not one-shot all the targets you hit, but one hit from your bow and they are critical. They're in trouble. It's just a bunch of hate you're going to be able to put out. And not only are you going to put it out, your troops are going to put it out. And what's ever left after the time your quivers are used up, you just top them off with your glaive up here. And so we're just going bow and glaive, completely offensive. No need for that shield. You had a shield long enough. Put it down for a little bit and come out here to Mantown. This glaive is going to solve all your problems, especially against other cavalry. Sometimes I just put the bow away and I start knocking cavalry down. And then once we've handled all the enemy cavalry, now we get back to work with the bow. Circle them up and pick them apart. Got some nice traits in here for dismounting enemy cavalry with the heavy hit. Some swing speed. Only going up to 206 here. You don't need much more. This glaive one-shots everything it hits, especially when you factor in you're going to have an awesome horse, high riding skill. You're going to be flying around. That speed factors into your damage. Incredible, incredible amounts of pain you're going to cause with this glaive, and it cleaves. It's one of the best counter cavalry weapons in the game, and the combination of bow and polearm makes you a badass on the field. Check it out. You are in for a great time. Coming down to riding, we're Khuzaits. What does that mean? That we love horses deeply. No one loves horses the way Khuzaits love horses. I can promise you that. We're horse boys. Making sure as we come in here to grab all of the horse archer perks, grab the breeder, love that one. Over here, +5 armor to all equipped armor pieces on mounted troops. So we're giving those elite Fun Guards even more armor, which makes them even better at trading, and they're going to take some shots. You gotta love mounted patrols. -50% escape chance to prisoners in your party. And right here, we're adding on some more charge damage because we can, and it's awesome. So We're doing damage with our bow, we're doing damage with our glaive, and our horse is ramming into people for damage. It's just going out everywhere. That's the Khuzait way. Going up in athletics is important because this is how you get that 777 right here. You get an extra control attribute right there, and here's an extra endurance one. So you only need to go 6 and 6 in each of these, and then put 5 focus points in athletics. And the best way that I level this is just doing hideouts. Running around shooting guys with your bow in hideouts, and you'll level your athletics very quickly. And then, of course, in sieges or tournaments, anytime you're standing on your feet shooting, you're going to get athletic skills. So it goes up pretty quickly. This reduction to charge damage taken is nice. Little extra damage. This one is actually very powerful. Plus 30% persuasion chance is pretty big. And you get plus 5 party size. And there's a few places in here that I've grabbed some extra party size. I like to grab it where I can. It's nice to be able to run fast in the times when you need to and move around quickly. Now we're here at scouting. Why have scouting on your main character? Well, number one, I love it thematically for my Khuzait Khan. I like to think about him coming up on the steppes on nothing but horses, hunting, and mare's milk. And so I like him to have scouting. Also, it takes a long time to level scouting. And if your scout dies, you play with companion death on. In Bannerlord difficulty, sometimes you lose those companions. And going from max level scouting all the way back down to a scout with 90 or so is awful. It's my least favorite companion to lose as my scout because it just hurts so bad. But the main reason is thematically, I just like it. And since I'm already going high in cunning for the roguery, because bow and roguery are my 2 favorite skills that I like on my playthrough. You take your horse archer army, throw this uncanny insight perk on top of them, and they are flying around the map. I don't care if you've got a 300, 400 man army. I like the speed. Makes me feel like I have that tactical advantage of just flying around, taking out everybody. And I just love it. Of course, you can have a scout too, but if he dies and you don't reload, you're going to feel it. Do you remember right here that mounted patrols? Minus 50% escape chance to prisoners in your party. And we're going to go ahead and combine that down here with keen sight. Another minus 50% chance. So 100% chance, no escape. That means if you capture them, you keep them until the end of the war. And that's what you're going to do. Roguery. I haven't actually leveled my roguery that high this game. But I'll tell you, even right here with the plus 35% battle loot, and the fact that with your horse archer army, you can take on much bigger ones, I'm drowning in loot. This is already enough. And, you know, there's some cool tricks in here where you can grab surrendering bandit parties, and then you can come into leadership right here with Veterans Respect and convert them into Khan's Guard. So you can grab step bandits, throw them in your army, and as they level up, you can eventually convert them into Khan's Guard, which is a nice way to get a bunch more if you need them. I really don't do a lot of that. You don't lose a lot of Khan's Guard as long as you pick your battles, but it is available for you. The best ways to level up roguery are raiding villages, which I do all the time, raiding caravans, which is pretty much my early game as a mercenary. And then also you can jailbreak people. I'm not a big fan of the jailbreak, although I will say once you get your bow skill up pretty high, it makes it fairly easy to do some pretty good jailbreaks, but it's kind of risky if you're not going to save scum. So it's up to you, but that is probably the best way. It'll give you a ton of roguery. But like I said, you don't need a lot of it. It's just getting more loot as the game goes on. I mean, you need millions and millions of gold by the end of the game. And that horse archer army is very expensive. I really don't like to do smithing because it just adds a ton of time to a playthrough. And I just don't see the need. I really just don't. I guess if you really like to be a smith, and it just adds so much time to a playthrough. And if you level up any weapon skill, you're pretty much one-shotting people. And there's plenty of cool weapons in the game. So crafting my own weapon, I mean, it's just not for me because of the amount of time it creates. Even right here at 142 and the plus 35%, I get more loot than I can even sell. I have to go 3, 4, 5 towns sometimes to sell stuff. If you push it up to this rogue extraordinaire and you're getting that extra 75%, on top of, I mean, it would just be an outstanding amount of loot. I can't imagine pushing it all the way up here. I've done it before, and you just have so much loot, you can barely stand it. So you kind of just pick the best pieces, and then you just get back to work. One of the nice things about having a high roguery and getting a lot of extra loot is you get a lot of upgraded pieces. So here I've got lordly shoulders, legendary band braces, legendary boots. Coming over here, look, I got these legendary step arrows plus 5 pierce, 2 bags of them. Well, these are balanced, but you can see. So you do tend to find a lot more upgraded equipment, which is nice. I was really just trying to get my guy up as quick as possible and get a kingdom started to show you this build. But if you take your time in the mercenary phase and stuff and push this up higher, you are going to be just rolling in it. From this row up is the main focus of the build that I like to play on my con. I like polearm and bow for weapons, riding and athletics, scouting and roguery. Anything you do below here is up to you, and it really doesn't matter. You could throw some, come up here and charm if you want to have an easier time getting lords to join your party, basically. And if other clans like you and stuff, they're less likely to attack you. I've seen people talk about the pros and cons of charm. Some people love it. Some people don't give a damn and say it's kind of overrated. If you got a ton of money, you can bribe people. But, you know, this will get you past those persuasion checks. If you're not going to just reload every time, it can be handy. I really like the leadership. This one right here for getting that +1 troop tier. If you get some healthy castle villages, you can grab some high-level noble troops with that perk. I really like that one. Here, some more party size. No penalty for recruiting prisoners of your own faction. When you declare your own kingdom and you have to fight the other cons, you're going to go up against a lot of other cons guard, and being able to recruit them to your own faction is nice. Veterans respect. We talked about being able to recruit bandits from Roguery. Here's some more party size. Faster recruitment for ranged prisoners, and you don't get the penalty right here for recruiting them. So I like leadership. I like the plus party size, and it makes some of the campaign a little easier. I go medic on mine. First off, you don't need a medic really, because you're not going to take the same amount of casualties that you do if you're running a shield wall and an archer line and cavalry. You're just not going to take the same amount of casualties running a horse archer army. So you don't need this decked out medic. You can get your own medic and save these points. I like to have it on myself because, as I've mentioned before, as someone pointed out to me, it is kind of hard to find a medic who's cool with raiding. So you can just throw it on yourself. The only thing that's real important for your horse archer army, I find, is this one right here, Siege Medic. It's also nice to have the traits where I'm healing while I'm moving or healing while my morale's high. This one's nice for after those big battles. Someone else is trying to close with you, helps you get away. Little extra hit points for your mounts never hurts. In a horse archer army, you get a lot of value out of this one. Again, you don't really take the casualties like you do in those infantry-based armies until you get in a big battle, and you do, and then it's nice to have this. So a little medicine is nice. My favorite thing right here is just the preventative medicine. It gets you right back into fighting mode if you lose some hit points. And without the shield and running around and having to lead your horse archers around, your guy's going to take some shots. So invest in your armor as quickly as you can. It's a real good investment for your guy since he's kind of leading from the front. Remember, you can't participate in a fight if you're below 20% health, and this pretty much prevents you from being below 20% health. And if you do get clipped, you come out, you're right back up to 30% or so. So you're always able to get in there and lead your army, and it's going to keep you from having to retreat and cook yourself back up to 20% before you go back in there. So preventative medicine is one I really like. And like I said, then I just really like Siege Medic. And after that, if you want more, go ahead, but you don't need a lot. The reality is, after you've kind of got your core build, there's plenty of places to go. One of the perks you can get in tactics just by going 7 in the tree and no focus points right here, Horde Leader, that's an extra +10. I don't simulate a lot of battles, so I never really grab a lot of tactics. Engineering's an interesting one. You can always grab an engineer, but boy, it's so awkward to get him to level his stuff up. Whereas you can just hop on a siege engine and level it up in no time. So that might be a thought. You know, you could not take leadership or come out of medicine and get a medic and throw this into engineering and then also go down into charm and engineering. I don't know. It's up to you. The core build, polearm, bow, riding, athletics, scouting, roguery. After that, pick and choose. If you're really into smithing and you like that, this would be a great build to go ahead and throw it, because 5 focus points is going to let you max it all the way out. As always, do what's fun for you. I just wanted to show you my max con build, but I can assure you that even just down to this point into Roguery, you don't need any of this other stuff. You're going to be just fine. Let's just go ahead and get the criticism out of the way, because people see your full horse archer army and they're going to give you shit for it. They're going, that's completely overpowered and yada, yada, yada. And they're absolutely right. If you stack any army full of noble troops, I don't care whether it's banner knights, cataphracts, fiends, anything, you are going to decimate all. That is absolutely true. It's also true that it's a blast and that we play games to have fun. And sometimes it's just fun to go wreck shop. So don't let people get you down about it. If you need to not level your guys up past level 3 or not wear armor, or people put all types of restrictions on themselves to make the game more challenging, by all means do what you want to do. But if you just want to have a blast, grab you a horse archer army and get to work. So without further ado, here's the Khans Guard. If you've played Bannerlord at all, you know this guy. You love him. You know you do. And you love chasing him around at the end of the battle for 30 minutes, right? Right there, that 260 bow skill, plus I'm the captain, give him an extra 30, almost 300 bow skill. Not super heavily armored, but armored enough. And then we've got that perk that brings it up a little better. Noble mount, 62 pierce bow with those step arrows. And then this glaive is just a dream from horseback. Makes them lethal against everything around them. So you group these guys up and they are just absolute empire builders and they get to work. And I love them. I think they look awesome. Definitely one of, if not the best unit in the game. It's just a complete package and they're just a ton of fun to use. So don't be afraid to use them. They're here to have fun with, and that's what we're going to do. The only thing about your horse archer army is it's very expensive. You can see at an army of almost 300 Khans Guard here, I'm running almost 5K a day in wages. But it doesn't matter because these guys kill everything and my roguery's through the roof, and that combination makes it smooth sailing on the money front. We just take what we want and we're rolling in dough. All right, let me just give you a few tips when it comes to gameplay. Obviously, it's not rocket science when you've got a stacked army, but I do like to show you some ways just to have a good time. And if you're new to the Khanate or you haven't really played them a bunch, let me just give you a few tips that just make them so much fun. And I just love this faction. Look at them. Look how awesome that horse archer army looks. So the battle always starts with the Just Add Water horse archers coming out to get you. They got those fake horse archers. Right? And so we're going to fight them. Now the cavalry's coming in. Now we're going to back off. This is where I like to just split my guys. Drink here. All right, and I'm going to put group 5 over here. And group 4 is going to come with me. Now there's some other cavalry over here. Here they come. And I'm going to go ahead and send group 5 in. And what they're going to start doing is working their way across. You'll see. There they go. See, they're heading around the enemy infantry down there. And then we're going to come up here and shoot down on them. And we're just going to surround them like the wolf pack we are. And then when they're on the other side, I'm going to send these guys. So now we're going to have a full circle. And this is the Khuzait nightmare you want to create. You want your horse archers firing from every direction so that they don't even know which way it's coming from. And then what I like to do is just come in here with the glaive, and you really just want to take out enemy cavalry. You can do this with your bow, of course, but it's just not as effective on these heavily armored guys. You shoot to the back of these cataphracts, and they got that big ass shield, and see, the glaive just makes it too easy. There we go. And so once we get these, and look, if you can't hit them, just hit their horse. There you go. He's down. We're not fighting on noble. We're fighting to slaughter everyone. And then once you've got their cavalry managed, now we just get to work on the target dummies. And that's all they are. Just big, dumb target dummies. Smell like shit. This is where that high-level archer is just going to come in. And like I told you, you're hardly taking... Look on the upper right. You're hardly taking any casualties. You're going to make shots. You're going to miss shots. Just worry about the next one. You're going to be shooting tens of thousands of arrows over the course of a campaign, so don't let it get you down. And that's it. That's how you do it. Beautiful. See? Oh, they're just so awesome. Isn't that badass? I think it's just incredible. But you saw how I got them going a circle. If you just have them follow you the whole time, the whole group of them, what happens is the enemy formation will actually just kind of face you. So you're always shooting in the shields. Whereas if you spread them out and get them all in a full circle, then you're kind of hitting them from every angle and there's just no way they can block it all. Outstanding. So that's just kind of the basic gameplay. And again, you can micromanage more. You don't even have to let them run around. You could just put a group of them on a hill and another group behind them and just keep them still and just use the horses to kite. But I think it looks a lot better when they're running around. So I like to do it that way. But up to you. But that's just a nice, easy Khuzait victory. Now let's up the ante. Easy to do on a full horse archer army. I hear you. So let's find a little bigger fish, and I'll show you how you can really maximize the tactics of the Khuzait to really turn the tables in some pretty cool ways. So here comes a big fish. They're coming for my capital here. So I founded my own little empire right up here in the upper right corner. We're just getting started. I'm doing all the heavy lifting at this point. So we're going to go ahead and let them set up because I'll get a really nice plains battlefield right here. So they're set up and we're going to hit them. Now, I'm going to go ahead and look in here and recruit everyone I can. We'll be a little overfilled, but that's fine. 1208 versus 304. And now this is a beautiful Khuzait battlefield. Just perfect. No rain, no snow. Just a beautiful sunny day to create hundreds of widows. And we're going to get right to that. A couple things to remember if you want to increase the difficulty of going against other armies. Number one, don't do the retreat and reload. Some players like to shoot up all their arrows and then retreat, go refill up, and then come back in and do the battle. I'm not a big fan of that. If you like to do that, go ahead, but it makes it almost a little too easy. I think part of the fun is having to maximize your arrow usage before you have to go in there and top them off. So having infinite arrows, I'm just not a big fan. Learning when to have your guys hold fire and when to use it and whatnot can actually be a pretty good time. The other thing you can do to increase the difficulty is make your battle sizes as big as possible. Part of what makes horse archer armies so strong is that they're only ever fighting sections of the army. I'm running a bigger battle mod here. You'll see the enemy gets to field most of its forces. Not all, but most of its forces. And that gives you a much greater challenge to work with. And again, especially if you're not going to allow yourself to retreat and reload. So that's two things you can do to increase your difficulty. Let's get this battle going. Now remember, horse archers like to shoot to the left. And so you'll need to roll out to the right so they can shoot in towards the enemy at the left. So you don't want to start on the right boundary, and the game loves to start you on the right boundary. So I'm going to start our guys over here. And we'll go ahead and get this started. Now, remember, the first part of the battle is always skirmisher on skirmisher. Now, this is a real nice start because we've got some real nice distance between us and them. And get your boys out there. It's time to earn your pay. And the rest of their army's pretty far away, but they're closing. So you got to be careful because it's tempting to go hard in on these guys. And you know what? We might just do that a little bit here. Just get the best damage you can out, but don't go too hard. There you go, hero. You wanted some of the con and you got it. Now, be careful here because you can see that enemy cav coming in. We need to peel out. Because we don't want them charging into our lines, bogging us down while their infantry gets in javelin range, and then you're sucking a bunch of Aserai javelins. That's no fun. So we're peeling out and they're trying to charge into us to pin us down. No, sir. We're just going to keep on rocking me, baby. See, that's it. And you see that jav cav behind us slinging those jabs? Ouchie. Stay away from that. And they're just pumping that damage. See? Shooting to the left. Firing into that big pile of man. It's getting me hot. Now you got to be careful because there should be another cavalry group somewhere. I don't see them. Now I'm going to shut the arrows off here because we're going to come around. And they'll... Oh, gee. See, that's the shit you want to watch out for. Don't do that stupid shit. That was bad. That can cost you some guys. But we've maintained good distance and I've been on top of it. So now when we come back around here, turn that fire back on. I'd like to get some shots out. There we go. Start getting that Christmas tree going in the upper right. Beautiful. We're moving. We're armored. Your guys get hit. Their horses get hit, but it spreads the damage out kind of nice so they can last for a while. When I told you the number one thing you really want to do is take out the enemy cab, and that's true. But sometimes you kind of got to take what they give you. Obviously, if I stop here or if I turn back into that mammoth amount of cavalry, I'm going to have some problems. Also, you can see they're trying to get some damage out by throwing their javelins and stuff. Now, here's something you can do. They leave these archers out like this. Remember, you can just run it into them. Hurts them. And then we're going to crash into them like that, and then we're peeling out. And then look, here come the reinforcements. And we don't really want to look at these guys. They got wooden shields and cloth on. We don't want to waste a bunch of arrows shooting those guys. So just drag your con guard through there. They'll get hung up a little bit, but they'll punch through after they glaive those guys down. And slowly but surely, we're going to spread this army out. What we don't want is a giant clump of 500 infantrymen and cavalrymen picking us off at the end here. We just want to take what we're given and maximize that damage if we can. Got some archers here, got some more guys entering the field, but for the most part looks like we're up here doing the Lord's work. And see, we're just going to charge through these fellas because this is nothing. We're going to cut the arrows and then we'll pull over here and see what we got. Reassess the situation. At this point, what I am going to do, because we still got a bunch of arrows left, I'm going to do that thing where I split off half my forces and the other ones are going to come with me. Oh, look at my wife. She's coming with us. We got matching helmets. You see that? That's what she gets for giving me a son. And now look, we're coming into this cavalry. What do I tell you? Get that glaive a swinging. Do what you can. Did I send that group out? I want to make sure that that number 5 group is rolling. Now you got to be careful because that infantry is going to try to close, but me sending that other group around on them will make them think twice. And this is what we want to do. We want to be in this big cavalry fight. We want to be taking cavalry out. Fucking glaive. God, I love this glaive. You go cataphract. Get that cataphract down. Okay, keep moving. Keep it moving. Arrows out. If we got to switch to the bow for a few of these, no problem. We got that option too. Boy, there's still a ton left. They got those infantry up there, cavalry down here. Okay, let's go get these horse archers, see if we can just come in behind them and wedge them. I got a feeling we're going to be out of arrows before this is over. And it's going to get real blue collar. Going to earn that 12 gold a day, boys. Okay, at this point, I'm done screwing around. Just let the Khanage guard go loose and let's see what happens. Give it to the Sky Father. And what I do is before I bust out the bow and start pumping the infantry with it, I'm going to look for targets of opportunity out here on the ledges, and I'm particularly looking for enemy cavalry. That's the biggest threat to your Khanage guard. Look, these guys used up their arrows. But I think we've gotten this to a manageable situation. And then with my bow, I'm looking to soften up. Even if I don't kill them, I'm looking to soften up. I really don't like to come through here like this. That's a little more than I want to say. Like this guy right here. Axeman. That's a great target. Watch out for the javelins. Woo! Good arm. Jeez, got some Major League pictures here. And remember, you can bump people and do damage. So don't think that you have to shoot your bow at everybody, but you get a guy whose back's turned to you, as I'm missing plain as day. Nice. But that's the idea. Shoot that cavalry guy, see 64 damage. He's hurting. And then you can just fire into that big pile of meaty men. They love it. They love it. It is the will of the Sky Father that all peoples fall under the banner of the Great Khan. Those who do not submit must be brought to heel. Gather your horse archer horde and forge your path. You shall become a great Khan. Oklahoma out.